Hi there, friends. How's it going? My name is Rabbit, and thank you for joining me for episode number 36 of Let's Play Through Final Fantasy Origins, specifically Final Fantasy 1 on the PlayStation 1. I spent quite a bit of time off camera without you guys getting the money that I said I wanted us to have so that I could go ahead and just purchase a few spells here in the town of Onlac. So we're going to hit the ground running in this episode with looking at everybody's set of spells. I'll show you guys all of these status pages so that you can do any comparisons that you'd like to draw with the levels that everyone happened to be prior to this episode, and then where we're at as we're starting this episode. And then we're ready to just dive in and move on forward. We're inching closer and closer to the conclusion of this LP series, so I'm very excited, I guess, to keep that momentum moving forward. So we will not spend a whole lot of time on an intro. Let's just keep on keeping on. We acquired a ferry in our last episode, and we just hear people talking about like underwater areas, and we need oxy ale for this, and we're just gonna have to put all of this random mumbo jumbo together. So let's do just that. But as I already mentioned, let me take a second to highlight the magic that everyone has. So you guys have already seen Rohit's page. Oh, actually, let me take a breather and take a step back and show you guys the gil that is remaining, as well as like our timestamp and everything. So you can see all the time that I did devote between episodes to grinding and amassing the gil that I needed to obtain the spells that I wanted us to walk away from Onlac with. So now back to what I was starting to say. Here is Rohit's page. Nothing too spectacular to highlight here. Moving on, Burl has nothing, so we're not even going to entertain that, but we will entertain Melvin, and I was pretty transparent with you guys that Heal 3 is up in the air for me. Some people may say this is a good spell to pick up. Others may say, you know, save your money, don't devote the time to grinding for it. I think it's going to be a nice little upgrade for us. I want to go ahead and grab it. That's the determination that I made. But for sure, I would not say that this is an end-all, be-all spell that you absolutely must put on your white wizard. So hopping on over to Tyrone, this is something that I did highlight for you guys that I think if you're going to walk away from Onlac with anything in terms of spells and magic, it should be Saber. It raises Tyrone's attack by 16 and his accuracy is going to go up by 16. And if you did what I kind of showcased in our previous episode and you picked up those cat's claws, Tyrone is going to be a powerhouse even in terms of physical DPS that he can deal. And you guys will have the opportunity to see that as we're engaging in a couple of upcoming fights and encounters. But I think Saber is absolutely something that you should be taking away from Onlac. Everything else is kind of up to you. It's up to play style, personal choice, all of that good stuff. But I'm a sucker for Saber. I think it's really nice, especially in addition to the stats that you have from those cat claws. And I still stand by what I said, that I think these are the best weapons to give your black wizard / your black mages. I think the black mages can equip them. I'm pretty sure they can. Anyway, that is it for what happened with our actual party members without you guys. You guys got to see, no, you didn't get to see their status pages. I'm not going to take forever for this. Here is Rohit. You can pause the camera if you need to. We'll hop on over to Burl. Here's where he's at. He's pretty close to level 33, actually, so you guys will probably see some stat increases here for him. We've got Melvin, who's quite a ways away from level 32, so he'll be sitting here at 31 for a little while, and then a similar situation for Tyrone here with 18,000 XP remaining before he's going to jump into that level 32 camp. So really, Burl is the only one who's kind of ready to climb ranks to the next set of levels, and that's okay. He's been sort of dragging my team across the finish line, but it's been that way for a while, so there's really nothing new to see here. But what is new to see is for us to hop into the sea. You like that? You like that transition? No? Well, technically it's not accurate because we're not getting into the sea. We're going to get in a river or stream, if you want to call it that, and that will take us to where we need to go next. So get out of here, Ice Gigas. No one cares about you, but I will happily take that extra gil because we will use it to sleep at whatever hotel, inn, or wherever we're going to need to be resting next. But for now, we should be good. I will actually be doling out a few incremental heals so we're not too terribly worse for wear. as we're moving forward. But if Tyrone gets a chance to attack, I really want you guys to just see how much damage he does. It's a little insane in my opinion. I think he's very powerful with the cat claws, and you're especially going to see that difference when he has Saber as well. So we'll do the same thing. Oh Lord, I'm still at it with the heavy hand. Although I still stand by what I said, that I think the controls are touchy in this game. It's not that I let my finger linger on the buttons, not by any means. But, you know, maybe that is kind of what's going on. And oh Lord, no. These white crocs got to go. Absolutely not am I entertaining this. Let's just do a bolt 2 ought to be okay. I don't want to use up all of my charges because we are going to be venturing forward into a new area. But oh my gosh, you guys, I totally forgot. Like 2 episodes ago, I started telling you guys a story about just how my life continues to be crazy. Those of you that are kind of vets to my life and you've been following me for several years since I've been doing Let's Plays and video game content, I feel like I just invite all types of wild energy, and I don't know if it's because I'm very chill in real life. A lot of people tell me I'm almost too laid back, and I guess some people see it and they're like, there's something up with that girl. She's up to no good, maybe is what they're thinking. Or they're like, screw her, she's too calm. We gotta ruin her day. So I won't give you the whole spiel, but I had a guy actually follow me around town, and I had to go to a police station and get escorted to my home because this guy was out of control. So the long story short of it was, I stopped to get gas, and this is just from my perspective. I don't know what he's gone through. I don't know what his situation fully was. All I know is how he was acting when he ended up meeting me and what he was saying to me. Am I actually going to make it in here in one piece? Woo! We made it. Well, hold on. Let me put my story on pause as we enter the Waterfall Cavern. So let's head in here and see what this bat has to say. Key! Same thing that the rest of them seem to like to say. And I'm kind of... Oh, it doesn't appear to be anything up here. And for some reason, I thought there would not be encounters in this room, but I see pretty quickly that I am very wrong about that. But that's okay. King mummies and regular mummies are sort of old news, so we're not going to worry about it. We'll just make our way through, and this will give me the opportunity to share this madness with you guys. So this fella, I pulled up to a gas station, and I was just pumping gas into my vehicle. This random guy, maybe he was in his late 20s, early 30s. He was roughly around my age. I'm 32. So he was like 28 plus or minus 2 or 3 years. You know, nothing too spectacular or that really stood out about him. I noticed when he actually pulled into the gas station, but he wasn't the type of person that you'd look at and think like, oh gosh, is he coming my way? I just didn't think anything of it. I'm also not a super paranoid person, and I really do my best to not judge people based on their appearances. And I have a few friends that say that I'm ridiculous because it probably is a natural defense mechanism and a way to protect yourself, to kind of be aware of your surroundings. And I acknowledge that is a weakness of mine, and that I'm probably a little too much of a bleeding heart where I see people, and even if my gut reaction is, oh Lord, what is this person up to? I tend to think, it's none of my business. They're just a normal person. I'm going to mind my business, and hopefully they will mind their business. I've always been of the mindset that people should mind the business or mind the matters that pay them, right? Like, I think people are too far up each other's asses and too worried about what other people are doing and not paying enough attention to obtaining their own goals or, you know, hitting the progress points that they're wanting in their own life. So I really do try to kind of stay in my own lane is what I'm saying. So I noticed this guy on this motorcycle, again, late 20s, early 30 something, pulling up, and he parked kind of like right behind my vehicle, and he was a little on my vehicle's butt. But sometimes people that are in a hurry and they're kind of wanting to softly imply like, hurry up and put gas in your car and get the heck out of here so that I can get gas. So that's kind of what I took it as, was just sort of like a little bit of a passive aggressive way for that guy to imply that I need to hurry up and pump gas in my vehicle and leave. So I didn't even look at him, even though he was like right up on my car's butt. So about a minute goes by, and he's just standing there. Like, he got off his motorcycle and was just standing and staring at me. So finally there was a point, like, I kind of looked over at him and we made eye contact and I just smiled. I didn't even say anything. And he said, "You're the bitch that cut me off." I kid you guys not. Like, this is how this guy opens this conversation. He just immediately says, "I'm the bitch that cut him off." Well, this caught me off guard because I want to point out that I was actually in the county where my house is because I was dropping some stuff off and running errands, but I had worked earlier that day. And this is probably not going to make sense to any of you that live in like super densely populated places, but for those of us who live in more rural communities, it is not that uncommon for you to live in one county, work in a county. Oh my gosh, this bat was in my way and now I'm gonna fight. Anyway, often in my day-to-day, I truly travel across like 4 county lines, which I know is not that common in a lot of bigger cities, but I'm in a really rural part of the United States, so I was actually renting a house in one county. I work in a different county, and then where I work kind of services 2 counties surrounding it, and then the house that I bought is in a different county from all of those other counties. So it's a little bit of a mess, and you guys are probably like, what the heck? Like, how much driving do you do all day, every day? Way too much is my answer to that question. But nevertheless, so this guy like was saying that I was the bitch that cut him off, but I had just crossed that county line because I was dropping some stuff off for work. So I knew immediately he had the wrong person. And for those of you who have followed me for a while, you know, I bought a very generic looking vehicle a few years ago. I drive a silver Honda CR-V. If that is not like one of the most generic vehicles, I don't know what is. I see like 10 silver Honda CR-Vs every single day. There's no way this guy knew for a fact that I was the one that cut him off. Because again, I know that he was wrong because I wasn't even in that county. I'd been at work all day and just had crossed the county line to get gas when he was saying that I was the one that cut him off. But, you know, I really am all about de-escalating. I'm all about extending grace. And it is very possible that this person really was upset because he thought someone had done like some kind of power play on the road. And road rage is super real as well, so I don't believe in matching aggression with aggression, at least not initially. That's just not my energy. And I've already had a few friends who were like, that was really stupid. You really should have told this guy to fuck off immediately. But I wanted to hear him out, you know, that's just me. So I immediately opened by saying like, "Oh, sir, I think you have the wrong person." And that was not the right thing to say, obviously, because he like went off and he was calling me a bitch and then a liar and he said I was retarded. And I clearly was as stupid as he thought I was based on how I was driving. And so I let him kind of rant, and he was screaming at me, you guys, in front of a whole bunch of people. Like, he was acting a fool and was being a hot mess at that gas station. So anyway, he was cussing me out for a little while, and finally I just said to him, because I had places to be too, I did not interrupt him, that is for sure, but when he kind of like paused and took a breath, I said, "Listen, I've been at work all day," and I, you know, told him which county I was working in that day, and I said, "I've not even been across this county's border for a long time. So if you could even just tell me like where this happened, I'm pretty sure it wasn't me unless you were in that specific county and then you followed me here, but that would be even crazier." But I was like being very nice and matter of fact about it, where I said, "I'm pretty sure you have the wrong vehicle." But you guys, I legitimately said this to him. I said, if it was me, if for some reason I accidentally cut you off, because I want to point out as an aside, this guy was not able to give me any specifics. He couldn't tell me what time it happened. He couldn't tell me exactly where it happened because he did not want to have to like relive the horrors, because he was driving a motorcycle and he said that I allegedly pulled out in front of him and he almost died and his life flashed before his eyes and all this stuff. And I get it, like that. If this legitimately did happen to him where someone pulled out in front of him, that is awful, and I feel for him, and I'm so deeply sorry that he had that experience. Like, I've had a couple of really close calls too in my life where I've rolled my vehicle driving over black ice. I mean, Andrew and I, for those of you who've been with me for a really long time, you know, he and I went hiking on, ooh, there's that level for Burl. Let me put what I'm about to say on pause and let us celebrate Burl's level with 13 health points, some strength, some intelligence, a bit of endurance, and a stroke of luck. So that is great for Burl. But what I was starting to say was when Andrew and I were in our early 20s, we were like 21, we hiked Mount Evans, and Andrew was a terrible navigator and got us lost, and I legitimately thought we were going to die. I don't remember what LP I had going on at that time, and it might have been one that is no longer I almost said alive, but basically I was going to say accessible, because I did redo my first 4 LPs, so it might have been one of those early series that I did, but nevertheless, I've had a couple of close calls where I really thought I was going to die. I know it's super scary, and that adrenaline rush is wild, and it throws you for a loop. I totally understand where he's coming from. However, he does not need to be taking this aggression out on me. And also, it's a little wild to just approach a random person that you don't know for sure is the one that cut you off talking that level of shit, because I'm in the South, or I'm at least in like the country side of North Carolina, and people carry guns here, and he picked the right person to act crazy towards, because if he had done this to like one of my friends who's kind of a good old boy, he would have definitely put out his gun. It could have been an altercation. So this guy was quite fortunate that I'm a lover, not a fighter, and I'm very laid back. But I did tell this guy, like, look, pretty sure you have the wrong person. I was working in a different county all day. I've been across county lines for maybe 10 minutes. But I said to him, if it was me, I am so deeply sorry. It is never my intention to make anyone feel unsafe in their surroundings. I am 99% sure, even though I should have just said 100%, because I do know it was not me. But I said to him, like, I'm 99% sure that I am not your girl, but I apologize on behalf of the jerk that did cut you off. Because that's a terrible feeling, and I understand. And you would think he would have been like okay with that, but no, he was still pissed off, and he was like, I don't want your bullshit apology. You need to go through what I went through. And so he said, like, I'm gonna get you, and you're gonna pay for this, and blah blah blah. And at that point, I just sort of looked at him and I said, there's nothing else I can say to you. I know I was not the person that cut you off, and if I was, I already apologized. You're clearly fine. There's no damage to your vehicle. You're alive. You need to let this go. I mean, I didn't say that last part, but essentially I was just like, there's nothing else I can offer to you. I cannot give you peace about the situation. All I can do is say I'm sorry for what you experienced, and I hope you have a nice day. And so I left, and I started driving around town because I was dropping stuff off, and he followed me around town, you guys, like an absolute nutbag. He followed me for an hour, and eventually I had to go to a police station, and they had to escort me, and it was a mess. I had to file a police report, and then after that, because the guy had followed me for so long around town, and the town where I have the house, I'm kind of on the outskirts of the town, but it's not that big. So if he knows what my vehicle looks like and he has my license plates, he could easily identify like which home was mine. It's not that hard to do. So I had to, for like a week, actually it'll be going on. Yeah, it's about a week, I guess is what I should say. The police agreed. A week and a half, really. We'll have to be doing security checks of my property because I'm not fully moved yet. It's just a nightmare. This guy, I'm not going to be a diva and say he's ruining my life, but he is being so crazy that he's absolutely making things unnecessarily difficult for no reason. I wasn't the person that cut him off. Like, he 100% has the wrong person. And even if I was the person and I cut you off in traffic, like, road rage is not good, you guys. Like, don't follow people to a gas station and cuss them out in front of other people, because like I said, he picked the right person. I'm really peace loving and I'm very laid back, but if you square up against the wrong people in this area, you will find yourself in a bit of a brawl and with a gun to your face. And that is not my energy, and I'm not about that life, but that is a bold, big dick move to follow someone for an hour and like start screaming at them at a gas station when you don't even know for sure you have the right person. Like, who even does that? Anyway, the police, when I was filing the report and giving them all the information of the encounter, and we had to contact the gas station so that they could supply the footage that I was truly minding my own business when this guy just came up on me. And you could even see in the video, like, my body language. I was very laid back and very non-confrontational. I mean, it was just so out of control and so wild. So I hope if that random guy happens to watch my videos someday, probably not, I hope you found peace, and I hope you get your shit together, because you're out of control. Like, that is such an unhealthy way of handling a situation, regardless of whether you're in the right or the wrong. People have got to take a step back and relax and really think about your fellow man. Like, think about the impact that could have on someone else, you being so hyper aggressive about something that might have been a mistake. I really don't understand road rage. It's just not something that I really experience. And, you know, I think all of us have been in situations before where someone's cut us off, or, you know, you've been honked at for a stupid reason, or someone flips you off when they're the ones in the wrong. Even in those weird moments where I feel frustrated at another driver, I would never in my life think of following someone for an hour around town. First of all, I don't have that much free time. And second of all, that is crazy. Like, why would you even do that? In 666, I'm with you, Burl. Those are the numbers that guy was invoking that day when he was being an absolute nutbag. But anyway, so that is the kind of quick and dirty version of my story that you guys, I'm not afraid or worried about any long-term effects of this as much as it's just disappointing that people are like this. Like, take a deep breath. Road rage is not worth it. It's definitely not worth someone else's life for you to be crazy, you know, driving on the road, being so angry and hyper fixated on vengeance that maybe you create a car accident for someone else. But it's also not worth your life to be antagonistic to someone that you don't know if they are more aggressive than you are. I don't understand that energy at all, and I wish everybody could just relax and try to extend grace to their fellow man and realize that most people aren't malicious and going out of their way to mess with you. People make mistakes. Some people are assholes, but most people, I believe, don't deliberately try to be assholes. I think we're all products of our environment, and we all make mistakes. So before you're that person that follows someone for an hour, take a deep breath, reflect on what happened, ask yourself, was that person actually in the wrong, or is it possible that you were in the wrong? And even if that person was in the wrong, if they did not do something blatantly illegal, or if they did not actively harm you, sometimes I think it's better to just extend forgiveness and grace and move on with your life instead of harboring that resentment and anger and hate for so long. It's just, to me, it's not worth it, but I understand. We're all different. We all come from different walks of life, and I'm a bit of a filthy hippie. That's just kind of who I am. But for sure, regardless of your hippie-dumb or lack of hippie-dumb, that guy was way out of line. So, yeah, I had to file a police report, and I'm sure the cops in this town feel so bad for me, and this is not how I want to be the new girl in town, for sure. Those poor policemen were looking at me, and everyone always thinks I'm much younger than I am, too. I'm 32, but I'm 4'10", and everyone says my face looks like I'm in my early 20s, so I'm sure they thought I was like this recent university grad that inherited a lot of money, and that's how I ended up buying the house, when it's like, no, plus 10, and oh Lord, no, we're not doing this, birds, y'all got to go. But yeah, add plus 10 to that, and, you know, my entire life of working and hustling, and then that's how you get me being in the position to afford the home that I bought. So I definitely don't want them thinking I'm a helpless young girl, but, you know, I appreciate that they care and were looking out for me, because the poor cops, they were just kind of like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And they even were telling me, you know, welcome to the area. There's a lot of through traffic from some of the bigger cities where people are a little more aggressive, but they were saying, you know, this town's really calm and laid back. So for the most part, this really was a fluke, and you were just the recipient of someone having a very bad day, regardless of whether he was in the right or he was in the wrong, in the sense that someone may have cut him off. They were like, most people are not like this and will not act like this. Take this cube, defeat Tiamat, flying fortress. What? Who are you? We obtained the warp cube. Oh my goodness. Very interesting. Okay. Well, thank you. Wait, robot, what are you doing? Wait, I'm not done talking to you. What's the problem? He shorted. Oh no. Well, let's go ahead and end this episode by grabbing everything in the chest. So we got a defender, which we'll look at. 5,000 gil. I will gladly take 6,400 gil. Wow, 13,450 gil. A ribbon and a spellbinder. Let's see what all of these are. So we got the defender, which is a sword with blink effect. looks like Rohit could wear it. Let's see if it's better for him than the ice brand. It actually is much better in terms of, well, honestly, everything. I was going to say in terms of the attack and accuracy, but, you know, those are the stats that we're seeing. And it's not like the ice brand really brings anything to the table. Blink effect. We'll have to try that out when we can. Well, anyway, Rohit's attack is going to go up by 1, and then his accuracy goes up by 10. So hands down, we are going to go ahead and opt to equip that defender on him. Let's take a look at the other things that we picked up. A ribbon sometimes protects from special attacks. I think, do we not have, ooh, I'm not sure what I want to do with the ribbon. Let's see, is this going to be, it's not a glove, it's a helmet. Sometimes protects from special attacks. I'm not sure who I want to put that on. To be honest with you guys, maybe we'll put it on Rohit since he's often the recipient of the enemy's cancer. It seems like tends to be the case. I think, yeah, let's just go ahead and give this to Rohit. It's not like he takes a hit to any stats for this. So this is probably the way for us to go ahead and just go. I think it's fine. It'll be okay. We're not going to sweat the small stuff. And then we have a Spellbinder staff with muddle effect, which, I mean, I guess that's okay. Let's see. Oh, who can use this staff? Is it just Tyrone? Yeah, absolutely not. Only black wizards can use it. And I told you guys already, I think the cat claws are the way to go. I mean, I don't need the muddle effect, and I don't like the stats. So for me, I don't think the Spellbinder's worth it, but if you did not feel like spending money on the cat claws, then here you go. Here's an alternative to whatever you had on your black mage / black wizard prior to having the opportunity to pick up those cat claws in Onlak. Anyway, that's it for my story of that madman chasing me. Okay, I guess it is not the end of that story. We will get into one last encounter. And I guess the last thing I do want to say about that is I'm so excited about officially moving into my home and being a part of a town. I'm planning on going to all the town council meetings, and I'm sure everyone is going to think I'm nuts. Andrew and I have both been saying I feel like I'm now the protagonist of my own little anime where I've got this neighbor who's very jovial and sweet, and everyone outside of that nutbag who is chasing me down, but I don't even think he's from the town, because there is a major highway that kind of runs through the town. So this guy could have been from anywhere. He could have been from 2 hours away. Who really knows? I can't project any of that onto him. Who knows where he's from? But Andrew and I were both joking and saying, like, this is the start of my own anime where I'm going to be the new girl in town. I'm different, I think, from the typical demographic here where there's a lot of poverty, I think, within the specific town itself. Surrounding communities, not so much. But I know even combined households in this area make half of what I make as an individual here. And that's not to say I do not make a lot of money at all, but I think there's just so much poverty here because this is still very countryside and a lot of farmland and just a lot of, I think, like social issues going on here. But it's interesting because I am so new and so different. So it's going to be a weird adventure, and I'm sure I'm going to have a whole lot of stories for you guys over the next few months as I acclimate to living in a home, having all this acreage, and being kind of, you know, like a not fresh off the boat, because I'm not fresh off the boat. My family was fresh off the boat. But being like a second-gen immigrant minority woman in a pseudo-deep southern state and owning my own property. It's going to be weird, but I'm very excited for all of the adventures that will ensue. But anyway, when we come back together in episode number 37, we will finish exploring this Waterfall Cavern. We did pick up a new key item called the Warp Cube, which says it is a prismatic cube that glitters with color. We're not sure exactly what we need to use it for, but I have a feeling we will find out quickly. So until our upcoming episode, everyone, take care, be good, and I, your host Rabbit, look forward to seeing you in just a second.